you, Madam Speaker, and I rise to support the Deputy Chief Minister's report on the dire strait of the Northern Territory electricity system. And Madam Speaker, I wish to put on the record the grave consequence of a Labor government that for 8 years failed to deliver critical reforms to our electricity system, which was desperately needed. A Labor government that disregarded expert advice from the Utilities Commission on how to prepare the Territory's regulated electricity system for the future. And a Labor government that, instead of taking energy agnostic, lowest cost to the consumer approach, was guided by their ideological drive to reach an unrealistic 50% renewable generation target. The culmination of these failures has left Territorians footing the bill for a power grid prone to blackouts and ill-prepared for future challenges. Madam Speaker, Labor's insistence on pursuing their political agenda led the former government to defer essential operational and investment decisions that did not align with their ideology. Among the most dangerous of these deferred decisions was Labor's failure to finalise a plan to replace Channel Islands' ageing generators as they approached end of life. By way of background, the original life expectancy for Channel Islands C1 to C6 was 30 years, with an original planned retirement in 2012. These already ageing generators, with exception of the C3 unit, had their lifespans extended by 15 years up until 2027, leaving plenty of time for any government to properly plan for their replacement. However, after 8 years under a Labor government that preferred to invest in art galleries and shadeless structures over critical infrastructure, these same ageing gas-fired generators still provide Darwin and Katherine with much of their electricity generation and grid firming capacity. Madam Speaker, the age of these generators elevates the risk of mechanical failure and system trips, increasing the likelihood of blackouts. As Minister for Essential Services, every time there is a blackout, I do my best to ensure power is restored with haste, but I urge Territorians to remember that while Labor promised to deliver an energy future backed by renewables, they have instead left the Territory with ageing critical generation infrastructure that exposes Territorians to more frequent interruptions and outages. Madam Speaker, while I'm on the topic of blackouts, it's not like Labor were left in the dark on the critical nature of replacing the generators at Channel Island. Since as early as 2019, independent reports, including those from the Northern Territory Utilities Commission through the NT Energy Outlook report process, have consistently highlighted the risks and challenges facing our electricity system. In particular, the Utilities Commission stressed the urgent need to plan for the retirement of generation assets at the Channel Island Power Station and to commission alternative generation sources. Yet these warnings were repeatedly ignored by the former Labor government, which failed to take meaningful action to replace this essential capacity. While some may believe it unfair to claim that Labor chose to ignore these warnings, it is clear that this was not the case. I refer to an ABC article from July 2023, which states, Darwin Katherine grid at risk of power blackouts within 3 years, Utilities Commission fines. The then Minister for Essential Services, the now opposition leader, was asked to comment on concerns raised in response to the 2022 Northern Territory Electricity Outlook report findings. The report's findings were very clear, Madam Speaker. Action and investment decisions are needed now to avoid risks to maintaining a secure Darwin-Katherine power system as early as 2027. The report explicitly warned that within 4 years, electricity demand may exceed supply if a solution was not found to replace the 185 megawatts of generation capacity scheduled for retirement at Channel Island Power Station. When asked for comment, the now opposition leader stated, and I quote, "The Outlook report necessarily assumes only committed electricity projects." And then she went on to assure Territorians that The NT Government is planning for future generation capacity to replace planned retirement of existing gas-fired generators, as well as near-term investments in the essential services required to enable the safe commissioning of future renewable energy projects. Madam Speaker, I asked the opposition leader, well, what happened? Where are these promised near-term projects? The projects expected to take the place of the generators at Channel Island, critical in supplying and stabilising the Darwin-Katherine grid. Was the plan to get all your power from solar farms commissioned without adequate battery storage, leaving Territorians vulnerable to blackouts every time a few clouds passed overhead? Madam Speaker, when the Country Liberal Party came into office in 24, we weren't left with much of value in the electricity space. No strategy, limited committed replacement capacity and scarce investment in the infrastructure needed to secure our energy future. So I asked the opposition leader again, was this just another broken Labor promise? While the Labor Party may not have understood the damage they were doing, the CLP has always understood that energy policy must be grounded in practicality, stability and the delivery of affordable power for Territorians in both the short and long term. Madam Speaker, I guarantee that this government is not repeating Labor's mistakes, and while they may take a while to clean up, we are committed to restoring confidence in our energy system by delivering the power security Territorians deserve at an affordable price. As Minister for Essential Services, I've already taken action to correct Labor's numerous energy mistakes and do my part in steering the Territory back to a stable and affordable energy future. In March of this year, I announced the decision to extend the life of 3 gas generators at the Channel Island Power Station, a critical decision long overdue and long neglected by Labor. I was advised by TGen that extending the life of these generators, 1 to 2031 and 2 to 2035, would likely secure reliable capacity for the 150,000 Territorians who depend on the Darwin-Katherine grid. As mentioned, these generators are ageing and require investment, but with no committed replacement projects planned by the former Labor government, this decision became the government's most viable option, or perhaps its only option if we were to ensure energy security. Madam Speaker, tomorrow, with the support of this chamber, this government intends to pass the Electricity System and Market Operator Bill 2025 and the Electricity Legislation Amendment Market Reform Bill 2025. Among other benefits, these laws will streamline electricity infrastructure procurement and establish a framework for whole-of-system planning, a significant step in avoiding the investment failures that occurred under the previous Labor government. Madam Speaker, our electricity system is in a dire strait and requires immediate reform and investment. With tomorrow's expected passage of the energy market reform bills and across the next 3 years, this government will deliver the reforms and investments needed to rebuild the Territory's electricity grids. Madam Speaker, our actions will ensure Territorians enjoy reliable, affordable power to restoring our economy and rebuilding our unique Territory lifestyle. That is this government's commitment and what we will deliver. Madam Speaker, I support the ministerial report brought on by the Deputy Chief Minister. Thank you.